If you think you're having more sex than your neighbor, then you're happier. We are social beings. We compare ourselves to each other. So there are social comparisons in...
Come on, man. He caught me off guard there,
What
sir.
you mean if you think?
What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we are back with another American reaction. Super excited about this video because you guys are saying that y'all are happier than the United States. I know we have a lot going on in the country, but I consider us to be happy people.
Yeah, most definitely. No reason to be. I feel like it's just all about what you allow to control your mood of the day. So you can have full control of your life. You can have a happy life.
Yeah. So if you're new to us and we're new to you, make sure you scroll down, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the post notification bell because we're on the road to 100K. And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
What makes me happy is...
I think I was definitely born happy, and then life happens.
I'm getting a bit emotional here. I feel very happy.
Oh,
Very happy.
Baby kisses.
I'm happier now than when I lived in New York, and I got paid probably twice as much in New York as I do here.
Our happiness is kind of like quiet happiness, kind of a stillness.
What does it take to be happy? The Nordic countries seem to have it all figured out. Finland and Denmark have consistently topped the United Nations' most prestigious index, the World Happiness Report, in all 6 areas of life satisfaction. How have they cracked the formula? And are the people there really the happiest?
The United Nations just named the happiest place on Earth. It is not Disney World. It's Finland.
In 2019, the World Happiness Report named Finland the happiest country in the world, for the 2nd year in a row. Denmark came in 2nd place after claiming the top slot in 2013 and 2016. Year after year, Nordic countries like Norway, Iceland, and Sweden round out the top of the list. Enter Jeffrey Sachs, a professor at Columbia and the co-editor of the World Happiness Report.
What do those countries have?
Okay, so I do have to add in this little fact. Okay, so I'm not understanding why they're comparing Finland and Denmark to the United States yet, but I do want to say that in the United States, your hometown was listed as the happiest place, the happiest and the friendliest place in the United States.
Facts. Do you know what it is, though?
Multiple times.
Multiple times.
So that can give you like a perspective of why we feel like, you know, everything gonna be all right. Let's take from the Jamaicans. Everything gonna be all right.
Yeah, one love. Everybody's one love.
They have a high level of prosperity, to be sure, but they're not the richest countries in the world by any means. The idea is a good balance of life. You don't have to get super rich to be happy, they believe. In fact, if someone's super rich, they look, what's wrong with that person? So they're not societies that are aiming for all of the effort and time to becoming gazillionaires. They're looking for a good balance of life, and the results are extremely positive.
The annual happiness ranking began in 2012, but we can trace measuring happiness back to 1971.
It came in the inspiration of the country of Bhutan, a country in the Himalayas that many people know for its innovation of attempting to measure gross national happiness.
Globally, a standard for measuring success and productivity is gross national product.
Bhutan had the bright idea of trying to measure happiness.
Measuring happiness is a fairly complicated business. First of all, we need to understand what happiness means.
What is happiness?
Yes.
It means the satisfaction with the way one's life is going. It's not primarily a measure of whether one laughed or smiled yesterday, but how one feels about the course of one's life.
Meet Mike Viking.
Okay.
That's interesting.
I like his definition of that.
Yeah, I think it can go hand in hand with a lot of different. People have their way of living, and they're very comfortable with just that way of living. They don't need the extra money to fly cars. They don't need the people around them. You know what I'm saying? Some people live in tiny houses and just live their best life
for the rest of their whole life.
For the rest of their life.
They don't desire to move outside of the environment that they grew
facts.
And other people looking in will be like, why don't you, just elevate in life? Do something more. And they're like, I am elevating.
Yeah.
I don't have to pay nothing on my mortgage. My cars are paid off. I can go on vacation anytime I want.
True.
But I ultimately think that happiness comes down to what type of person you are. Are you a goal-oriented person, or are you a people person, or are you both? A balance of that. So, I mean, everybody has their own measure.
Right. Then you got people who like to just live next to the forest, and they just go out there in the forest every day.
Right,
and probably run, jog, bird watch, and that's a peace for them. As long as you find peace, tranquility, then you good.
Yeah.
Happiness researcher and CEO of the Happiness Research Institute in Denmark.
There's a lot of factors that impact happiness, everything from biology to income levels to the city they live in. But I think the best predictor we see in the data of whether people are happy or not is whether they're satisfied or happy with their relationships. So do we have somebody we can rely on in times of need? Do we have somebody we can share our hopes and worries with?
These 6 categories help account for the differences in life satisfaction around the world. GDP per capita, healthy life expectancy, freedom to make life choices, social support, generosity, and absence of corruption.
On average, richer countries are happier. On average, richer people are happier. But once we get to a certain level of income, additional $100 a month is not going to impact how people feel about their lives. So with money, like with everything else, we see diminishing marginal return.
And I don't know why I'm bringing up this quote because it's extremely corny, but there is a Kanye West song in which he says that having money is not everything, not having it is. And I do think that's true in the sense that when you don't have it, it's all you worry about.
Oh man, I wish you would have stopped on the quote.
Having money is not everything, not having it is. I'm trying to dissect that. Give me a few more minutes.
I need to see it. Hold on.
Yeah, we're going to freeze
it. It's extremely corny, but there is a Kanye West song in which he says that having money is not everything, not having it is. And
Having money is not everything, not having it is. You know what?
Please speak on it. Help me. help me understand.
I feel like being that, again, it depends on your level of success. I've had the best of both worlds in my family. Like I have, 4 different sides of my family, and knowing their success stories, knowing their struggle stories. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, so I've learned what hard work is.
Yeah.
To get somewhere. I've had times where I didn't have money. I've had times where I've had money.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out, for me, I'm a goal-oriented person, right? I have these different types of goals. I have been happy when I didn't have money.
True.
I've been happy when I had money. So for me, I feel, growing up, especially in the church, and hearing the scripture, that money is the root of all things evil. So I've never glorified money.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For me, it's like, I've been trying to piece these words together while you're talking the whole time because I want to be careful how I say it. But I think for me is that you don't have to have a whole bunch of money to know that it's not the key to happiness. You don't, because you have rich people who are very suicidal, not living the best life. But you have to be, and I'm talking about a few people, you have to have a lot of money to see all that you can do before you realize that money isn't everything. And I feel like that's kind of like, for a few people. And I feel like that's kind of like where I'm at with happiness and the quote with having money is not everything, and once you realize that, then you say, you know what, not having it is. Yeah,
and it also boils down to values and morals that people have.
Oh, that's the huge one. Yeah, that's a huge one.
For me, I'm not a people pleaser. So I could have 6 figures in the bank and you won't even know. Okay, because why I need to go get a Rolls Royce? All I need is a
Man.
little Honda. Let me go get me a little Honda.
I'm cool with it.
Okay.
Talk about it.
Why I need to go get all of these labels? Of course, like I love, the classics. I'm not a
Yeah,
flashy person.
having things is good.
Yeah.
It feels nice,
But to be dripped in that every single day, like
I'm not. I don't
money.
like, yeah,
Money does not equal happiness to me.
It doesn't. I feel like relationships does though. Relationships with self and whoever you're with surrounding you. That is that puts the pin in it. You know?
Yeah. But for people who are a goal-oriented person,
let them get their yachts.
accomplishing things for me is happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Having a happy marriage.
Yeah.
That's a goal that has always been a goal of mine.
Yes,
I've
yes.
accomplished that, and although we have a happy marriage, just breaking generational curses, accomplishing things together, that makes me happy. Having children who are happy makes me happy. Accomplishing my goals, all of those things make me happy. So for a piece of people like us, money does not equate to happiness.
Right.
I do think that's true in the sense that when you don't have it, it's all you worry about. And when you do have money, you can actually worry about other stuff. Happiness also seems like this elusive thing. We have 2 words for happiness in Danish. So we have lykke, which is the elusive thing, the thing you experience once every blue moon. And then we have to be glad, like the word glad, which is different because it's more down to earth, and you can be glad despite the fact that it's not anything special. It's no special day. Lykke seems like this elusive thing that you can't quite chase. To be glad is more like our mindset. So I feel more like I choose to be glad at times rather than sort of trying to chase happiness.
I like that. Yeah. You don't want to chase your happiness. You want happiness to be awakened inside of you.
Yes.
So you can have that personal relationship with happiness. And I feel like if you really want, and this is for a few people, if you really want to know, if you're that happy person, try being alone for quite some time. And then you're going to really start to see what's pulling on you, the desires, your needs, your wants, who you want to be around. Once these things start to expose themselves, then you start to realize what was your root of happiness. And then you start to kind of, decipher what you need to do with your life at that point.
Yes, man. When you have some alone time, you really learn yourself. Man, you learn yourself.
I bet a lot of our readers can relate to that. All they need is a good book.
Right.
We're going to have it that way.
Maria lives in Helsinki with her husband Duke and her 2-year-old son Luca.
Wow.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, that's my favorite game. Which one is it in?
Finland is the best place to have kids. When you go give birth, it's almost free. We stayed in the hospital 3 full days as a family. We had our own family room and we got like meals and support and help and everything. And the bill was about 300 euros in the end. It's basically like living in a hotel.
In Finland, new mothers receive a free baby box jam-packed with 63 items to help with the baby's first year.
Wow.
I
You
like
don't have
that.
to buy anything for the first 2-3 months. Of course, diapers and stuff like that. But
What baby
basically,
I like that.
and also you can actually put your baby to sleep in that box. Our baby actually, Luca, slept in the box for the first month.
Finland, along with the other Nordic countries, offers generous parental leave. Anu Partanen, author of The Nordic Theory of Everything, spent 10 years as a journalist in the US before returning to her home country, Finland. She's also a mother.
In Finland, you get 10 months of paid parental leave, out of which about 4 months is set aside for the mother, and you start it before the baby is born, and then father can keep 9 weeks.
Typically, both parents stay home for the first 3 weeks. They share the rest of the time until the baby is 9 months old. A parent can even stay home until the child is 3 years old and keep his or her job. However, the stipend is much smaller.
Another determinant of well-being.
Okay, so in the recent years, and we have shared this, but in the recent years, although it's not at like a federal level, there has been jobs who create better maternity/paternity leave. We have shared how with our last baby, we have shared all 3 of our children
Right.
and how, you know, at first the jobs that Dion had, he wasn't able to come home. Like the first job, you didn't get any leave at all. You just took off to be there for the baby. The second job, you took a week off.
Yeah.
But that was just sick leave.
Right. But that third baby,
one,
I was able to get it.
Yeah, the third
and
one.
some.
What, that was 5 months that you had off? 5 months of fully paid paternity leave. So when we make, like, you know, say that there's nothing like this in the United States, there is. It's just in certain jobs.
Certain
and you just
jobs.
have to
Yep.
do your research to look for those jobs.
Gotta check into that.
Is one sense of personal freedom to make important life choices. Can you shape your life the way you want?
Christina was unhappy at her job in advertising and took an 8-month break.
Social security is also something I think is very important. What I did didn't make me happy, and it didn't let me have that work-life balance that we cherish so much here. And so we have a system that made it possible for me to quit my job and have some thinking time and figure out, you know, what's my next step in life.
Christina received about $2,000 a month from the Danish government while she was unemployed. She is now in school to become a painter. Her tuition is covered, and she receives an educational stipend of about $1,000 a month. Two of the biggest perks of life in Denmark and Finland are free education and free healthcare.
Income taxes are not at all as high in the Nordic countries that Americans tend to think. However, overall, it is completely true that the Nordic countries collect more taxes in general than the United States does.
In Finland and the Nordic countries, there are higher taxes on consumption, like eating in restaurants and buying jeans.
But the thing that I think a lot of Americans forget is that the Nordic people are happy to pay those taxes because they get services in return. Daycare, great public education, it includes your college, tuition free, it includes healthcare. All of those are included in your taxes.
When the news hit that Finland is the happiest country in the world, I think most people kind of reacted to like, what are they talking about? We don't think of ourselves as very happy because it's dark and gloomy in the winter and whatever.
It's easier for Finns and Danes to shape their lives because the government supports so many of their basic needs.
The American dream is probably more alive in Denmark. The perception of freedom is probably also a little bit different. It seems like in the US, the feeling is you have to be protected from the government and you have to have freedom from the government. I think in Denmark, the sense is that the government protects you.
People trust other people. You leave a bag in a restaurant in Finland, you're pretty sure you're going to make it back and the money is still there.
People even leave babies parked in strollers outside coffee shops
about
while
that.
they run errands.
Yeah.
And I think partly the Nordic society cultivates that trust simply by providing basic services for everyone. So there's much less poverty, much less feeling of injustice, inequality, crime. People get the education they need, they can have a job, they can work.
Yeah, they definitely have it set up to where they don't have to worry.
Right, definitely.
Definitely have it set up like that.
You know, just more social programs. I feel like that would be the cure to a lot of problems that we have with homelessness, poverty, all of that. Think about it. You're an adult. Well, first of all, let's backpedal a little bit and talk about college. So, now it's been a while since I was in college, but much hasn't changed. So, in the United States, you get grants and you have options to get loans, and you also have scholarships. Because I had all three to get through college, you know, I received a stipend, and you had to let it spread out all the months, right? It wasn't no monthly, but it was like a big stipend every 6 months throughout 5 years of college. You manage it as you can.
Right.
So in a sense, my college was paying for, and I didn't get a loan every year. My college
because it's a choice, right? You can
Yeah.
you can get the loan if you want it
Yeah,
or
it's
need it.
it's a choice, but because I had so many scholarships,
Yep,
I didn't
yep.
need it. So basically, my college paid for my apartment. No, I didn't have an apartment. I had a house. My house, paid for my child's daycare because I was able to pay for it out of that stipend, paid for our food, paid for all of my basic needs and necessities. I chose to get jobs because I'm crazy. So I chose to get that. So imagine if everybody was getting, she got $2,000 a month on unemployment.
Yeah. And also an extra $1,000. I forgot why, but she also got an extra
$1,000 because she went back to school to be a painter. She wanted to quit her job, change her career.
Look at that.
Imagine if everybody had that cushion of, you know, help with basic necessities of life, and they go get other jobs and they go to college. They're able to have a better life. So with that, I do agree with that.
Yeah,
you know?
all that money could just triple if you know how to properly invest it.
Save, you know?
Yeah.
Have to struggle in life as much.
There isn't super wealth, and there's absolutely no super poverty. Everybody participates. It turns out it leads to a wonderful kind of life, and one that is expressed year after year as making these countries the happiest countries in the world.
Monica and Alex are expats who live in Copenhagen with their 2 teenagers. Alex is originally from the UK, and Monica is originally from New York.
We originally came here expecting to stay only 3 years, but it was so good. We've been here 9 now.
It's also safe. And this comes back to the community and the trust. We can let our kids go out. And we do not have to sit here being really worried that, are they going to come back? Are they safe where they're going? Do we have to go pick them up? We still worry, of course, but it's just very different. There's still this very strong sense of family, friends, community.
Balance is the formula for happiness. Aristotle.
Okay, so she said that they still worry. The sense that we get from the comment section on all of, you know, the comparison videos is that you guys don't worry. Everybody look out for each other. There's nobody's out that is out to harm you.
Right.
So what is there to worry about? Like, I would just honestly want to know, because we get so much of that in the comment section.
Yeah, but I do take that with a grain of salt because, you know.
Definitely.
It's people. We are human. We're going to have our emotions, you know, stirred up at some point of our life, regardless of where we at. So,
definitely. And let me put this note out here. We get a lot of times of, guys, don't believe everything. Y'all, we're not naive. It's a reaction video. We're just
come on, man.
commenting on what we see and hear.
Facts.
Okay.
Make sure you like it up.
Had it right when he launched the study of happiness 2,300 years ago.
According to Aristotle's golden mean, good behavior lies between 2 vices, excess and deficiency.
People who pursue only money and say, I'll be happier the richer I am, turn out to be less happy.
I do think having nice surroundings is a part of happiness, but I also think it needs to be linked with something that sort of resonates with you on a deeper level. Having nice surroundings, having a lot of money, and being in a 5-star hotel in Las Vegas doesn't make you happy at all. So I think it needs to have that balance.
Cue the classic Nordic work-life balance. Rich Perusi, former New Yorker, has been living in Copenhagen for 7 years.
People stay pretty tight to a 9-to-5 workday, but I do think that we get as much done in a short period of time here as we were doing in longer times working in New York.
One of the comments we actually heard when we first came here was a Dane saying that when you see someone working late, are they doing it because they can't get their work done? Is there something wrong with them versus are they just trying to get ahead and working? There is a sense that, yes, work's important and you need to get your work done to a high quality, but you also need to make sure it's balanced appropriately.
Sara Alhupuro is a diplomat and an artist who has shaped her work schedule to make time for her passion.
So I actually need to go to my physical workplace only 3 days a week. So then the rest of the time I can spend here in the middle of nature. When I walk in the forest, I walk there very quietly, paying attention to all the small details and all the colors very slowly, and I try to spot all the small details. and I completely lose the track of time. Usually I spend about 5 to 6 hours picking mushrooms.
People don't make as much money in the Nordic countries as they do in the US.
So it's not really about how much you make. You don't have to make as much to get the same quality of life as you would in the United States.
So if we look at the dimension called life satisfaction, we can see that money does matter for well-being and happiness. But, I mean, on average, richer countries are happier. On average, richer people are happier. But the mechanism here is being without money is a cause of unhappiness.
Not everyone likes to talk about money either.
In Finland, it's been this kind of rule that you don't talk about money that much. At least, like, my parents basically wouldn't tell me how much they made, for example, if I would ask as a kid. It would be considered bragging if you would tell about how much you make, etc.
People are happier when they are generous and when they feel that the society that they're in is a generous society. And then we find people want to live in places with decent government. If government is corrupt, if leaders are bizarre or autocratic or corrupt, the society is unhappy.
In 2019, Finland elected the world's youngest serving prime minister, 34-year-old Sanna Marin. Danes are among the happiest people in the world, but they're not necessarily the friendliest. Lars A.P., author of Effing Flink and founder of the movement of the same name, wants to change that.
So Effing Flink is a national movement. Our prime goal is to take Danes that are among the happiest people in the world, but also being the friendliest people in the world. Why are we doing this? Well, because friendliness and positive human interaction means so much to us.
Okay, so that's a good point. Because in one of our live streams, we go live every Saturday, 12 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Look for us.
In one of our lives, we had someone from somewhere in Europe. One of our supporters in Europe asked us, are we always this happy?
Oh, snap. You remember that?
Definitely.
Yo, that's crazy.
And
hey,
I'm
they
like,
sure did.
what do you mean? At first, I'm like, are you being sarcastic?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean? And she was like, can you just explain, like, how you get yourself so happy dealing with all that you deal with in the United States?
We never came across a live where we get comments like that before. And that was the first, so that was different.
Yeah, and so I had to explain to her that in the United States, it's a lot of, like, individualism here. Not a lot, it is. We tend to know what's going on around us, but if it doesn't directly affect us, our community, at least for us, our community, our household, we tend to focus on our little bubble, right? And we're not people where if something's going on in the media or if something's going on at home, we're not going to leave our house, go to the market, and just have an attitude with the cashier or people we come across from
Bring
the
our bad energy with us to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever happens at home or whatever happens in another conversation stays in that conversation. And that, again, that goes generally for everyone, but again, it goes by person because some people are negative. Some people have negative energies to them, but for us, we are always happy. But you know, we're just like anybody else. We go through stuff. We deal with things. We just don't try to push that energy on someone else.
Right.
If that kind of makes sense. So, and she also said the United States people are just so friendly. Y'all just asking how everybody doing, even if you don't want to know. And that made me think as well, because if we're going through all the things that we go through, I put that in quotation marks because, that we go through, we still are big on hospitality.
That's
at least
key.
in the South.
Yeah. That's the key. And then she went ahead and rephrased her comments talking about that maybe it's her surroundings that she need to change so she can start being more happy because she's not used to seeing people smiling and conversating like that. It's always a straight face and they're just walking past each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So that's interesting that they're the happiest people, but they're not friendly. Y'all friendly, y'all just not the friendliest.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 10 seconds back on it because he actually went into saying something about I don't know. Let's hear it.
Our prime goal is to take Danes that are among the happiest people in the world, but also being the friendliest people in the world. Why are we doing this? Well, because friendliness and positive human interaction means so much to us. Science shows us that. And so we're trying to do that in all sectors and all realms that we can think of.
Finland and Denmark both have populations of less than 6 million people. The US has over 330 million people. The Nordic countries are pretty homogeneous too. Do population size and diversity affect happiness?
A lot of countries with relatively homogeneous population similarities among people ethnically or in terms of religion and so on are not very happy, so it's no guarantee. And on the other hand, it's possible to have a lot of diversity and more happiness. Our northern neighbor in the United States, Canada, ranks higher.
Yeah, I think that Finland is probably one of the most homogeneous countries in Europe. Still, we have recently had quite a lot of immigration, but I would say that still it is fairly homogeneous.
I think it's funny because I kind of always, I guess, assumed that Danish society was kind of diverse. But then we went to see Dave Chappelle's show here in Copenhagen, and both him and the guy who he had with him as support kind of opened their show saying Denmark is so white. And I never really thought about that before. Or since that show, I just think about it all the time.
Okay, so
that's funny.
When dealing with things like that, especially for us who are getting ready to travel the world more, it's kind of interesting and I don't know how to say it in words, but alarming to, because we deal with certain things here in the United States, it's alarming to go to a country where there's not a lot of diversity. Because then in the top of our mind, the question will be, how will they treat us while we're there?
They may be happy, but like he was mentioning, are they friendly?
Yeah.
So will that spark conversation or would that spark distance?
Right, because everybody is mostly the same, has the same, way of thinking.
And then we can go on with television, then they see a certain race on TV and think a certain way and not necessarily changing the way they feel about their own lifestyles because they're just doing what they want and they're happy and they're friendly and doing everything. But soon they come across someone different, the television told them something, so they're trying to maintain and see the scope of how they want to handle a certain person.
Right.
So. We've been having immigration for hundreds of years from all over Europe. I mean, in the 70s, we had a lot of people from Turkey coming up, from Vietnam. We had people from Yugoslavia in the 90s. And Denmark has remained happy throughout that period.
The 2018 World Happiness Report explores happiness among natives and immigrants. It shows that when immigrants are happy, the countries are too. But if the country is already happy, new immigrants will experience increased happiness.
It shouldn't undermine happiness in the Nordic countries that there are influx of people born abroad.
There's also a dark side to happiness.
Like in Denmark, one of the biggest epidemics right now is stress and people being sick with stress and having to leave their jobs. And people outside of Denmark didn't really understand what that meant. Like, what do you mean stress leave? But it might be that expectation to have a work-life balance here that stresses people out, that you both have to work, but you also have to take care of your family, you also have to be social with your friends, you also have to, do this self-realization thing, hobbies and traveling, and there's so much you have to do in the same amount of hours, whereas maybe in New York.
I just learned not to bring so much of my baggage with me everywhere I'll go. Because that certain amount of conversation won't be fit or suitable for this environment. and I have to be myself. I have to have an identity crisis within myself to know who I am in these type of environments. So back in the day, I would bring work home, and it would bring stress with me, and I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? It would rock the house. It wouldn't. It's just not right. So leaving work at work and bringing back myself. Yeah, work was fine. Whatever happened there, I'm gonna just leave it over there and deal with it tomorrow. I ain't gonna compensate it among my family or my peers or my friends or businesses, and I'm like, because it don't help nothing, it don't benefit nothing.
Right.
So.
She made a comment on they have to work. They both have to work. They both have to do all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And the question I'm about to ask, please keep an open mind. Just as we keep an open mind with you guys, we want y'all to keep an open mind with us.
Yeah.
No question here on this channel is going to be ignorant. It's going to be we just don't know. It's coming from a place where we just don't know. And we want to know. We're learning with you guys. Look. She said they both have to work. Is it a choice? For like, what is the demographics in terms of entrepreneurs or people like stay-at-home parents, not just moms, like stay-at-home parents, stay-at-home dads? What's
homeschooling?
Homeschool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause she said they have to work. Like how she just listed all of those things, it came off to me as a burden.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the level of choice that you guys have? Cause like that's another thing. In the United States, I'm glad that we can make the lives that we can create the lives we want to live. You know, so yeah, just interested in that.
For other places, you know that you're going to work to 10 every day, so you don't expect to have the same balance, you know?
It can be hard for outsiders to break into the Nordic cultures.
The Danes have such tight-knit friend and family groups. It's not very natural for them to just include new people into their groups.
It is a little harder when you come in from the outside to sort of become part of that group. We've had some great Danish friends, some met at work, but it is harder, I think, on that side compared to the UK and the US in terms of developing friendships.
There can be serious side effects to maintaining high levels of happiness.
Within the States, if you look at the level of life satisfaction, the higher the life satisfaction, actually also the slightly higher the level of suicide rates. And the theory here is that it might be more difficult to be unhappy in an otherwise happy society because it creates a stronger contrast to how you are feeling if you are surrounded by very happy people. So Denmark actually used to have really high suicide rates. So
that was a good point he made.
We had suicide rates of around 40 per 100,000, which was, I think, some of the highest in the world. Now, fortunately, it's around 25% of that, so it's around 10 per 100,000.
South Korea and Lithuania have some of the highest suicide rates in the OECD as of 2017.
So fortunately, suicide rates have been reduced a lot in Denmark. Also in Finland, there's also been a great reduction over the past few decades. But still, it's not zero. So we still need to reduce that even further.
Despite mental health challenges, a big part of Finnish culture focuses on overall well-being.
Sauna is a sacred thing.
Where's the activities? What are we doing on our spare times? Because from what I've seen, it don't look like there's many activities. I mean, I'm pretty sure there is, but it's not. They ain't showing much.
To support the happiness.
Yeah, to support what's the getaway factor?
Dave Chappelle, they laughing.
All right, stand-up comedy that's fine. You know what I'm saying? But like for us, we in the South of Louisiana, like we love to go to festivals, go out, do things, and just like it's so much to really do.
Yeah, I just see a lot of people walking, but that may just be for the purpose of this video. So send us some videos of what y'all do. We'll check them out. But I was gonna say, like in the United States, it's extremes, right? Mm-hmm. It's either you're low income, middle class, or wealthy.
Baller.
For me, look, I'm trying to get to the wealthy. All right, because it's a struggle being middle class. With low income, you qualify for everything, health care. Any type of welfare, you qualify.
They're gonna back you up.
Wealthy, you don't need that. middle class, you don't qualify for anything.
It's funny though. Ain't that funny? Middle class, you don't qualify for anything. Wealthy, they take it from you.
Yeah.
So now you're not really like, you may have a whole bunch of money in your account, but that money goes to like such a savings bracket because of the stuff that you need. Man, y'all know how expensive groceries is, bro?
Post-pandemic?
Man.
Child.
But yeah, that's another story. So, and then you got your rich class who are, you know, like they're introduced to all these resources.
Yeah.
So.
Y'all look, we went tour the wealthy neighborhoods. Child, our mouth was on the floor. Okay, but I was gonna say, imagine if we just all had that baseline of these programs. And again, there's cons to the programs as well, but we're not gonna get into that on this video. Imagine if we all had like a basis of, we all get a stipend every month, we all get this, we all get that. The poverty level will go down. We won't have towns like Skid Row. We won't have, you know, every few months the government coming with bulldozers to tear up the homeless camps. We won't have that. You know, everybody would either be middle class or wealthy.
Right. A or B.
Yeah. So.
For friends, I have like so many good memories about having these sauna moments with my family.
Sauna is something that I suppose you kind of have to like and love as a Finn.
As of 2018, there were 5.5 million people living in Finland and around 2.3 million saunas.
My grandmother always used to tell us kids that we can't fight in the sauna because we would risk angering the sauna elf. And there's even a sauna in the government of Finland where they say that they make some of the most important political compromises because you're culturally not allowed to fight in the sauna.
Okay.
Danes have mastered the art of comfort and coziness through hygge.
I think the best short definition of what hygge is the art of creating a nice atmosphere. And of course, that is something that happens
so right now I feel
everywhere.
like he's going to the part
activities.
where the activities that we do, the sauna, the I forgot the name of it, or I ain't read.
Something about art.
Something to do with arts, but this is dope so far, okay.
But what is uniquely Danish is we have a word that describes that situation.
You can curl up in a couch and read a good book and have good music on and just be in a hyggekrog. It actually means a hygge corner of your room. There's a social component to hygge, which I think is really important.
Hygge seeps everywhere throughout the country, from cozy drinks to warm lighting.
So one concrete manifestation of hygge is the focus on lighting. The rule of thumb is the warmer the light, the more hyggelig the light. So Danes love candles.
So how does hygge contribute to happiness?
So happiness is both having a strong sense of purpose in life. It's also experiencing moments of pleasure on a daily basis. It's also feeling satisfied with life overall. So hygge is this element in our daily lives where we experience comfort and pleasure and togetherness.
Another way Denmark and Finland support their citizens? Paid annual vacation.
Let's
So
get
in all
it.
Nordic countries, everybody has a right to paid annual vacation. It varies a little by country, but in Finland, for example, it's typically after you work 1 year for the same employer, it's 4 weeks in the summer and 1 week in the winter, and everybody gets this.
I actually heard a statistic. It's something like when Americans go home after work October 27th, you guys have worked as much as Danes will work for the entire year. But I actually think that taking a little more time off also makes you a lot more productive.
In Finland, it's traditional to
this
spend
the problem.
Hmm.
If they take time off, they're not going to go back.
Right.
Look at the pandemic.
Right. Yeah.
How they said everybody got to go back to the office and
Man,
everybody like, I done moved across country.
Yo, we got so many dreams and visions in us that we just like, you know, I think I'm going to start this business. Or I think I'm investing to this. And that really takes so much more pleasure than going back to a regular job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. But I do agree. I wish, of course, we have jobs that has paid annual leave. But like if you're part-time, you don't have those same benefits as a full-time or salaried worker has. So I wish that it was a federal, you know, thing where everybody did have paid time off.
Yeah.
Annual leave.
That would be fire.
In a summer cottage, or mukki.
We did have a summer house when I was little. It was something that my grandfather built himself during the 60s, I think. And we used to go there like all the time when I was small. A week doesn't go past during the summer when I'm not thinking like, oh, I wish we still had it.
Traditionally, the mökkis wouldn't have necessarily electricity or running water, and usually most mökkis come with a lake or the Baltic Sea. You can go to your sauna and have a dip in the water.
So in a Nordic country, the vacation time also serves families that if the parents stagger their vacations a bit, they can handle much easier the summer vacations for their children. And of course, then the family can spend time together.
Maybe Finnish happiness is more like inside, you know, it's like inner peace or something like that, that it's not so open. You know, it's like a balance. It's more balance, I think. So, ready?
Ultimately, happiness is relative.
If you think you're having more sex than your neighbor, then you're happier. We are social beings. We compare ourselves to each other. So there are social comparisons in...
Come on, man. He caught me off guard there,
What
sir.
you mean if you think?
If you think it...
Why are you worried about other people?
I thought just naturally having more sex would make you, you know what I'm saying, more happier. Like, I feel it because it has benefits to it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like he's going with it. But
So y'all up there looking over the fence, looking at the house with the light on,
worrying about
or the light
everybody
off.
else. Nah, you can't do that, my boy. Nah, my boy, you don't do that.
Okay.
Stay in your own backyard. Don't.
Yes.
You don't want to do that.
That make me feel weird, because don't be worried about me.
You think the Demouchets be...
Y'all better not.
Let's continue.
Salary in terms of the houses and how successful we believe we are, but also in terms of sex.
So, what's one small way we can be happier today?
For me, something that I've done which has made me happier is exercise.
That's a good one.
Saying no or being a tiny bit more selfish can make you happy.
One step to improve your sense of happiness is go first. So you're walking down the street, someone else comes walking towards you. It might be just a smile. It might be just looking the other person in the eye, whatever it is. But go first with that, because you don't expect that the other person's going to do it. Don't be reactive.
Let
Go
me
first.
find out y'all learning a thing from the United States. Let
I
me
heard
find
that.
out.
Mm-hmm.
In Denmark, we sometimes talk about the ABC for mental health. If you want to boost your mood, 3 sort of universal tips is doing something active, doing something together with other people, and doing something meaningful. So gather a group of friends, go for a walk. That could be something that could boost your mood.
Predicting the future on this is very difficult, unfortunately. Where will the U.S. be? It could be even worse than now. It could be much better than now. It's a matter of actually making choices for a better direction for the country, and one that is not guided by fear and hate, but one that is guided by a sense of community and the common good.
Okay, so this is the problem I have with these type of videos, right? They compare the United States, but they don't go to people, they don't go to the friendliest states in the United States
to get the,
asking real live opinions, just like they went to Finland and Denmark. So then it shows a one-sided, generalized view of Americans.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
So because I shared that, you know, it was the friendliest city. I don't know if we had the friendliest state, but your hometown was the friendliest city. So why not go to those places, ask them what they do, how they feel about their life? Because in Dion's hometown, you will see a diverse set of people.
True, yeah.
You know, and I think that's what make our home state unique. And that's what I think makes the United States unique. How can people be so free? Y'all, when I say free, I mean like happy go lucky. But so free, so able to walk up to people on a bus stop, just talk to them like that's their best friends and go on about their business. You know, so
Facts.
I wish that they would have interviewed people like that to have more of a more substance to the claims.
Right,
you know,
right.
We're happy people. So that's what I have, babe. What you have?
Man, just there's a few things that we can always do to maintain a happiness. Like he was mentioning, work out, find a hobby. Because when you work out, you feel better. Your body is more energetic. You don't feel like you're dealing with any slight side of depression, anxiety, stress. Your body is there to give you that push. You know what I'm saying?
Your hormones, release. Happy hormones.
Happy hormones is definitely more active as well. Find a very personal hobby for you that you can use to get away whenever you have nothing, time on your hand. When you got time on your hand. And eat healthy. You know what I'm saying? I know eating is a huge thing for everybody. We love to eat, whether you're vegan, anything. We love to eat. Find what you enjoy to do in the kitchen and let that be a happy factor for you as well. Because you do that, you can get people around you as well if you like that type of stuff. And it's deeper than that, but
Yeah, so, I mean, we kind of nailed it. I feel like we have shared, like, things that make us happy throughout the video.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Facts.
We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled our super thanks if you like to support the channel that way, as well as our join feature to become a VIP member of the channel. Send in your reaction requests through our description box below. We'll see you soon.
Peace.